Okay, hey guys, welcome to our Funeral for Fears call. I am Megan Goff, your Diamond Ambassador, and this is Justin, Emerald, soon to be Sapphire Ambassador. And we're super, super excited to hop on tonight and talk about something that I honestly feel it might be the most powerful topic in Zoom training that we've ever done. And just to be covering and chatting about this topic of fears, which I really feel like fear is the single most thing that can hold us back in life, not just Plexus, but life in general. And I was privy to some information that Jessica had shared with her jewels, because Tamara is leading a Maui group. And one of the assignments was to just detail fear. And she messaged her jewels and she's like, oh my word, y'all. She's like, I am reading through these fears. She's like, some of these people have been in Plexus for 3 years. And she goes, they're held back by fear, stagnant, stopped. They're not, they're completely crippled by fear. And so I was then just thinking, you know what? I don't want that to be said of our team. I want our team to be known as overcomers and people that have been able to push past fears, not just for Plexus's sake, but just in life in general, because fear will hold us back and it will hold us back from our true potential. So we're not going to be stuck in our fears. We're going to be overcomers on this topic. And it kind of reminds me of my boys right now. So my boys are classic chumpers, love them to death, but they chump. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically their room is full of like stashes everywhere. Clothes, toys, Legos, they just tuck it all different places. And so tonight I'm like, boys, look at this stuff. And so I'm like pulling it out from all different areas. And I was thinking, that's what we're going to do on our Zoom. We're going to dredge out all of those fears that we tuck away and we don't want to deal with. And we're going to get them out and bring them to the light so that we can overcome and deal with them. And I truly believe that overcoming fear will unlock the door to our true potential. And we can be free. We can be set free. So that is the truth. And this Zoom is meant to be interactive. I don't want it just to be a monologue of one person talking. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Justin, and he has some very kind of general things he's going to talk about in light of fears. And then we're going to open it up. And I would like some of you guys to share. I have not pre-planned who's going to share. So just kind of popcorn style, if you guys are open to unmuting kind of one at a time and just popping out some of your fears that you've had in your Plexus business. I kind of saw a lot of them on our Rocktober Challenge group, and I just felt like we needed to address them this week. So, and then there's some leaders on our team that are Senior Ruby and above that, newest Emerald, Lisa Winters and Amy Booker and Angie and Rossetti, and they're going to help kind of walk through these fears, because really, guys, probably the fears that you have or have had, we either have or have had, and we've worked through them, pushed past them, or done it in spite of the fear. So I'm going to actually turn it over to Justin, and then we will open it up for you guys to share.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is interesting to be talking about this tonight, because I've been thinking about fear throughout the summer. And a couple things I just want to point out. For those of you who know me, you know that thanks to Plexus, I spend a lot of time now in personal growth, and I share that with other people, that it's important to pour into yourself and to build yourself up so that you can be poured out for other people. And I just want to point out some things on this issue of fear, and I'm going to be reading out of something happened here. I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking. I'll let Megan work on this. Can you guys hear me still? Amy, I can see Amy Booker, and that's about it.
Someone shared their screen.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep talking. Can you hear me, Amy? Can you give me a thumbs up? Okay. So one thing I want to point out about fear is, well, real quick, is I'm going to be reading out of what I would say is the best personal growth book in the history of the world. And it's my favorite personal growth book. It's the Bible, and just some things that cover the issue of fear. So one thing I'll point out is I believe that fear is an enemy. I believe that fear is an intruder. Fear is a bully. Fear is full of torment. Fear is the opposite of love. And I think that from the studying I've done is that fear is not part of our natural design. And because of sin, because of the fall in the garden, we have fear now. Fear of everything. We're afraid of death. We're afraid of life. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of success. We're afraid of the dark. We're afraid of the light. We're afraid of gluten, whatever the issue might be. I mean, there's all sorts of things. I mean, it's like everywhere. So, but fear is an enemy. It's an intruder. And so fear, from what I can tell, from just a little bit of studying I've done and from life experience, is fear. There's two things we can do with fear. One thing that we can do with fear is we can allow it to enslave us. We can be a slave to fear. And we can live a fearful, enslaved, insignificant life. And most people do. There's another option, though. And that's an option that it took me a long time to start to discover. And the other option in light of fear is we can overcome fear. We can overcome fears. And I'm just going to read a couple things. You can write these references down if you'd like. The first one I'm going to read is in Revelation 2, verses 7. And it says in Revelation 2:7, "He that has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God." So there it is. Whoever has an ear to hear in these days that we live in, this time that we live in, the overcomers are going to be the ones that this is given to. The overcomers. We need to be overcomers. It begins the day. It's not just plexus. Plexus exposes a lot of different areas of life, I think. Mm-hmm. And fear is just one of them. The other scripture I wanted to read is in Revelation 21, verses 7 and 8. It says that he that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and the unbelieving and the abominable and the murderers and the whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. I find it interesting that fear is one of the issues mentioned in that big, ugly list of sins. Fear is included in that. But the encouraging thing is that he that overcomes will inherit. So fear is something that we can overcome, and it's something that we should overcome, whether it's sharing plexus with somebody, whether it's sharing Jesus with somebody, whether it's helping a friend who's doing something wrong and exposing them to what you're doing. Whatever the issue is, fears are meant to be overcome. So how do we overcome fear? How do we overcome fear? The answer is here in the book of 1 John, chapter 4. 1 John 4, I'm just going to read verse 18. The whole chapter is good, but I'll just read 18. It says, "There is no fear in love." The way we overcome fear is love. I think that the opposite of love is fear. It's not hate. Fear is a tormentor. Fear is I'll just read it here. It says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Because fear has torment. He that fears is not made perfect in love." Now, we all have things that we fear. But we all have the same two options. We can allow it to enslave us for the rest of our life, or we can overcome it. And according to the Bible, the way that we overcome fear is through love. I explained it to my son this year. For some reason, he started to become afraid of tackling in football. I don't know. Last year he was the greatest tackler, and this year all of a sudden he is afraid to tackle. I said, what is going on? He's like, well, I'm afraid of getting hurt. And I said, I know how to overcome this fear. I just read it in the Bible. And he said, how's that? I said, love. And he's like, how's love going to help me hit people? I said, well, the fear is coming because your focus is on yourself. That's where a lot of fear comes from, is from self-focus. I said, if you love your team more than you love yourself, you'll go out there and you'll make hits. If you love the game more than you love yourself, you'll overcome that fear and you'll start doing what it takes to play the game. So this thing of fear and overcoming fear works in all areas of life. We have to get past looking at ourselves, and we need to overcome the fears. Maybe it's sharing Plexus with somebody. I'm afraid to share Plexus with somebody. Well, take your focus off of yourself. Focus on that person who has a need. Love that person enough to share these products or this business opportunity with them, and you'll overcome fear. Love is the overcoming factor in dealing with fear. It works in every area of life. So anyway, I could talk for hours. I'm not going to. That's a general idea in light of fear and overcoming fears. And we'll move on to someone who's going to talk about specific fears.
Okay. So we want this to be interactive. So who wants to be the first person to pipe up and talk about their fears? It can be anyone. Just unmute yourself and just pipe up. No, I mean, if in a perfect world, we'd all be in my living room or something, like small group setting.
I'll offer to go first.
Okay, can you say your name?
Jenny.
Okay, hey Jenny.
Hey, and that's just because I always went last. I always wait till the end, so I'm going to make myself go first. But I think my biggest fear has been and this has been my struggle in life in general, is just what others are going to think of me, or losing friends, or, those types of things. It's just a struggle I've always had. So it's spilled over into this. So can you guys kind of talk to that a little bit?
Yes, we will. Amy, Lisa, Angie, should we field things one by one and address them, or should we just kind of have everyone share and we address? We can write things down.
I think people should share.
Okay.
And I think they should show their faces.
Yes.
Don't be afraid. I'm eating pie and showing my face.
And when you pipe up, can you say your name? Because there's like several pages of people on this call. So it'll be helpful if you say your first and last name. That way we know who we're chatting with.
I'm Jenny Peterson.
Okay, there she is.
Do you see me?
Oh, there you are. Okay. See you.
Hi. Okay. Honestly, my biggest fear is just kind of dying off after a few months and not really going anywhere, despite my enthusiasm about it now. And that's just kind of been how things have went in my life. Mm-hmm. So nothing ever seems to really follow through to completion, and I don't want that to happen.
Okay. Do you have a specific goal in mind that you want to get to, my main goal right now is to make it to gold by November. Okay. My overall goal is emerald. Of course, obviously diamond would be great, but emerald by my birthday in 2018, which is in May. Okay. So that's kind of like, I feel like that's a really lofty goal, but I need to aim high. Yes, exactly. Okey-doke. Who else? Who else is willing to pipe up, be brave, face their fears, and talk?
I have a quick question. What was the last name of the first Jenny?
Peterson.
Jenny.
No, the first Jenny that spoke. That wasn't
Jenny Winters.
Oh, Winters. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. I'll speak up. I'm mainly afraid of people thinking I'm a fruitcake.
Okay.
and being a failure. Because what I really want out of this business is my husband works in corporate America. I would really like to be able to earn enough so that he can leave his corporate job and what I make can make up a portion of his income so he can do something he would truly love. He would really like to get into disaster relief programs through some of the church programs that our denomination offers. And that's my goal, and I want to be successful in that so that way he can leave a job that he does not like, that provides for our family, because he's a very good provider, and want him to feel like he's not leaving the rest of us hanging.
Okay. And when you say fruitcake, what does that mean exactly?
Like a crunchy mama.
Okay.
Just kind of like, I've always been a kind of a crunchy mama wannabe. I've always shopped at health food stores, nutritional yeast. My husband and our 3 sons think my whole kombucha thing is fruitcakey. I'm kind of like a hippie mama crunchy wannabe. And I want people to realize, I know it's crazy, right? To realize that I'm sincere, and that, yes, I want to make money off of this, but just because of the tremendous improvement I've seen in my health and my pain levels, like everybody else, I want everyone else to feel that way and have the opportunity to know that you don't have to just survive, you can thrive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good.
I have something to say.
Okay, and what's your name?
Lynn Howersile.
Oh, hey, Lynn.
there she
Okay.
is.
Hey. For whatever reason, and I've shared this with some of you, but I have a serious fear of just simply making a video. So some of you on here have said, just get over it and do it. You can do it. So I have probably made 40 videos that I've never published or posted. Even right now, I feel like the tone of my voice kind of changes. So I feel like people won't think I'm genuine because I turn into like a teacher mode where I speak very clearly. And I watch some of you girls and I'm just like, why can't I do that? They just talk normal. I can tell it's them. So I know I just have to do it. So if I ever do this, I better get a lot of love.
We'll give you some love, Lynn.
Okay.
I was so scared of videos too. But I started on my What is Plexus group. It was a private info group on Facebook. And so I felt like that was a way for me to get past fears and kind of practice before I went out on open Facebook. Kind of a practice with a small group of people. But yeah, we'll definitely chat about that. Awesome. That was a good one. Who else has some?
Denise Fudge. I guess my greatest fear has always been approaching people I felt were better than me or had more money than me and actually starting a conversation with them.
Okay. That's very common. I felt that way too and still feel that way. That's a good one. Okay, who else?
I'm Stephanie Watt.
Hey.
And I think something that has become a big fear for me is, will I be able to, I feel like I can be successful in the business, but I worry if I won't be able to balance it with the other areas of my life. That somehow being a mom, wife, or, the other things that are me will suffer. How do I do it all? I guess.
So finding that balance. Good. I like that.
Hi, I'm Candy Wright.
I think one of my biggest fears is bothering. I feel like I'm bothering everybody on Facebook constantly with this. I've had people say, "Oh, we get so tired of the Plexus things," and I don't know why it's bothering me. Have that attitude. If you don't like what I'm posting, unfriend me. But I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to do that Rocktoberfest or Rocktober challenge, and I'm like, is 3 too many a day? Am I bothering these people? So I don't know.
Oh. Whoa. There we go. Sorry, guys. Okay. Had to mute. All right. Yes, bothering people on Facebook. Candy, do you have a lot of mutual friends at Duplexus?
I actually we moved in February, and I started a co-op, and I found out there's another lady in there that does Plexus. So I've been trying to be careful not to get friends that she's already friends with, but I was looking at her page and she doesn't ever post about Plexus, so I'm not sure if that's a concern I should have.
It's fair game. If she's not posting, then if you post and friends of hers or mutual friends come to you, then that's just how this business works. But yeah, some of us have a lot of Plexus people in our circle, and so I hear when you say, a lot of people might be seeing a lot of Plexus, but maybe yours is just a generalized, I'm worried about bothering someone or bothering people seeing Plexus.
I never see Plexus except for my own.
Oh, okay.
I have a couple of friends that apparently have friends that, I'm not friends with their friends, kind of thing.
Okay.
So they get tired of all the posts they get on their Facebook page. So they must have other friends that do it too, that I'm not aware of.
I always kind of crack up at those people that will verbalize that, because I'm like, you can unfollow and just still stay friends, But yeah, okay, that's a good one. We'll discuss that. All right, let's take a couple more.
I'll go ahead and say something. I'm Kathy Scott.
Hey, Kathy.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. And I have 2 fears. One is that my Plexus victories are still unfolding, and most of them are not visible. Obviously I still have a lot of weight to lose, and so I feel like that my story is somewhat compromised because of that. And then secondly, just a fear of failure. I worked for a man who was verbally abusive for quite a few years and just got out of that situation about a year ago. And he had me terrified to make a mistake, because if he was the president of the company and I was reporting to him, and he would, if I made a mistake at that level of the organization, he would threaten to fire me. And so I'm still dealing with healing from that.
Okay. And how many of you, so fear of failure, do any of you have fear of success? Okay.
Yes.
I'm seeing some.
Fallon, Crispin here. Yes, that's me. I have a fear of success. I feel like the Lord wants this for me. He's leading me in this way, but I'm so afraid to reach out and build a team, because I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint my team. I'm not going to be able to keep up with them, or just not going to be able to do all that I need to do to keep my team going.
Okay.
I feel the same way.
Who's that?
Rachel.
Rachel Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are
that
you?
Basically sums up my fears as well.
Okay.
Hi, Sarah here. I feel the exact same way. It's kind of a slippery slope. I'm afraid to fail and I'm afraid to succeed.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Kathy again, and afraid of both as well.
Hi, I'm Jerriana Harvey. I think my biggest thing about my fear of success is the perception that, I mean, I am so excited to help people, but I'm afraid of the perception that they're looking at me and making money off of helping them. So I want to make sure that my heart is shared.
I agree with that. Yes.
Perceptions. I'm writing that down because that's been a big fear of mine, is how I'm perceived, how I come off. I'm very aware of my Facebook presence and want to make sure that it's clear that I'm truly wanting to help and educate and teach and share what's been such a blessing to me. And when I look back and think of all the brave people that reached out to me and how long it took me, 18 months, and I had a lot of wrong ideas about what Plexus was, for one. But I never once doubted people's intentions when they reached out to me. I never thought they're just trying to make money off me. That was never even a blip on my scanner. So very good. Okay. I'm just scrolling through here on the Rocktober challenge just to make sure we kind of hit everything. Does anyone else have anything that hasn't been mentioned yet?
I will. Chelsea Rush.
Hey, Chelsea.
And hi. I would say one of my biggest fears is the negative responses from people, but then trying to overcome my reaction to that. That if somebody responds negatively, is it going to completely crush what strength it took me to build up to actually reach out and get to that point?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, yeah, more my reaction to their reaction.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And who is scared of following up with customers? They're going to tell you they're not getting good results.
Yeah.
That's a valid fear. I'm a diamond, guys, and I still am afraid of checking in because I so want them to have good results, seriously. And I feel like it's really, really helpful when you have not daily, but like some sort of interaction with them, not just Facebook, because I feel like Facebook is kind of a veil. We don't see people's faces. Sometimes we can hear their voice, obviously, if they voice message, but it's not as personal as if they were a client and like came to our office or something like that, where we can one-on-one directly work with them and troubleshoot and things like that. And so it is a fine line, but having fear of negative responses, whether that comes from a reach out where you're offering for someone to take a look at what you have, or following up with a customer or a wholesale customer or an ambassador.
So I have one.
Yes.
So like the area I'm in, like a lot of people already take Plexus or know about Plexus. And so I've been trying to reach out past people I don't know. Real problem. I friend request people, but so far they haven't really been accepting my friend request. So I'm afraid to reach out, like cold message people, because I don't really know where to start. My list is pretty small.
Okay. So your fear is friending people or cold messaging? Or just
cold messaging, and just I guess knowing where to reach out that hasn't been touched already.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Kim.
Megan, hang on one second.
The same problem.
Who was that, Megan?
That
Right
was
before
Kathy,
this person?
Kathy Petershine.
Okay.
So I am Denise Becker, and one of the hugest fears that I have recently is that I have friended probably over 1,000 people in the last 6 months. And I don't know any of these people. And so I don't know how to reach out to them in an authentic way without it feeling like I'm, preying on them. That's my fear.
Okay. Okay, that gives us a lot to chat about. Okay, so I'm just going to mute all participants really quick. That way we make sure there's no feedback. And then Lisa, Amy, Angie, if you guys want to tackle maybe one or two of these. Okay, Darlene has started screen sharing. This happened before. I don't know what's going on here. How do we not share screen? I'm sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. Okay, so where's Lisa? There's Lisa. Lisa, I know, had talked about. Hey.
So I've got, you want me to go next, Megan?
Yeah, that'd be great.
A couple things come to mind. I feel like, number one, I want you all to know that what you feel is very common, and that we all feel or have felt what you feel. So that's the first thing I wanted to share, because I feel like fear, everything that Justin said was excellent, because fear is our enemy and it is a bully. But remember that when you're fearing, from the enemy, okay? So he wants us to feel like we are the only person that has felt this way, or that we're weird for feeling this way, so that it's common. So I just wanted to say that, number one. And number two, there's a couple of little pointers I just wanted to say quickly. One of them is, I remember, first of all, fear doesn't play favorites. And so when we allow fear, this is why we're so excited about this tonight, because when we allow fear, I've always taught my children this, to open a door a little bit, it doesn't stay small. The door goes wide open if we don't get control of the fear and close the fear. And for some reason, I feel like I've dealt with fear a lot in my life over so many different areas. Actually, my whole family has dealt with that. And I think you come to the point where you get sick and tired of being afraid. Mm-hmm. And so Plexus has magnified fear for me in so many areas. And one of the areas has been fear of rejection. What are people going to think? They're going to think I'm weird. I remember telling Megan, I'm never posting about the business of this. I'll never get the car if I get to Emerald. I remember saying all these things because I didn't want to have the wrong perceptions. I had all these fears. I remember quite a few years back, before we were going to have our son, I was afraid, and this sounds silly, but I was afraid to get pregnant because I was afraid that I would have a massive heart attack. And this sounds silly, but this is what fear does. Okay, so we laugh about it now, that I'd have a massive heart attack when I was delivering. Now, I can look at that and laugh, but when you're afraid, it is your reality at that time. And so when I'm getting ready to post, I can't tell you how many times on my phone I would want to reach out to somebody, but I would have this massive fear that would say, what are they going to think of you? What are they going to, they're going to think you're out for their money. I'm telling you, I had one, so during that whole time when I felt like we both were praying about, having a son and having a baby, I had this woman pray with me, and she said, Lisa, do the opposite of what the fear is telling you to do. And that has been the one nugget that has carried me through. It's been 16 years. And so I've taught my children this. Yes, we teach them, obviously, the word, that's most important. But this one little phrase, do the opposite of what fear is telling you to do. So I can't remember your name, and I can't, okay, you don't have your first name on the screen about the video. You didn't want to post, you're afraid of the video. You need to just do it.
That was Lynn.
I wouldn't even listen. Listen, I sound ridiculous when I hear my voice. We just did a CD at church, and I went in to do retracking. It sounded so horrible, guys, and this is the absolute truth. I'm sitting here listening to it going, oh, well, whatever, I'm doing it again. I mean, you just have to do the opposite of what the fear tells you to do. So if the fear tells you you're worried about being inauthentic, you need to just be who you are. Your authentic self is not Lisa's authentic self or Justin or Megan's authentic self, right? I'm going to reach out differently than you. For me, when I reach out to someone, I tell them right off the bat, I've got these awesome products. There's absolutely no pressure, but I'd love to share these with you. That's it. I don't pretend. I don't do the dance that I'm trying to be build this relationship because I want to be authentic. I appreciate that when people do that to me, right? So we're all, and of course I want to have relationships, hear what I'm saying, but we have got to face the fear and do the opposite of what it's telling us to do. So if you're afraid that you're going to seem inauthentic, just do it. Just do it anyway. Be yourself. Do what Justin said and think of the other person. It's that one thing that has helped me. And it's been a process. And like Megan said, we're still sometimes deal with these things. And the 1,000 friend thing, I literally messaged Megan this week and I said, I need to up what I'm doing. I've got to increase what my production needs to increase. So I want you to give me, and I've been talking with her for 2 years. I've been on her team for 2 years or over 2 years. And I'm like, okay, I still need more. I need to do better. I need to learn. We all need to grow. And so I reached out to 10 people I've never met before, and I've already heard back from like 2 or 3 because my posture is different than it was 2 years ago. I'm confident that I'm not pressuring them. I know I'm not. That's just me. I know I'm not. And one more thing, and then I'm going to be quiet and move on to somebody else. This is my other thing. I remember because when people speak into your life, that's been the greatest changes, right? When God uses other people. I had another friend that told me, she said, Lisa, if you do nothing for God, if you do nothing in this life, if you don't ever grow your Plexus business, if you never share Christ, if you never do whatever you feel like you're supposed to do, you think that people will like you because you're being authentic and you're being quiet. Guess what? People might not like you anyway, right? So do what is in your heart and do it with all your, I mean, that sounds negative. To me, that's not negative at all, because I think, oh my goodness, here I am if I'm trying to please and have my Facebook, yes, we want to be, our presence to be good, like Megan said, we want that. But if I'm this was me, I was constantly worried. And I would have these people in my mind. What is she going to think of this post? What is he going to think of this post? Guess what? If I'm not posting anything about Plexus, they might not like me anyway. They might unfriend me. They might unfollow me, and I will not have grown my business. And that's my fault because I've allowed the fear. So I'm just telling you, I have felt these things, and even they try and creep up. They still try and creep up. And I have to stand and say, I'm doing the opposite. I'm making the video. I don't care how dumb I think my voice sounds. I'm going to do it anyways, because it's not about Lisa, right? It's about everyone else. And the beautiful thing about that is the blessings, you're so blessed because other people are helped. So do the opposite of what fear is telling you to do. And just remember that if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're going to be blessed for that. So those are 2 of my little nuggets. I hope that helped.
Excellent. Love, love, love that. Angie and Amy, I'd love for you to share too.
Okay, I'll go ahead. So I just want to say, I was just listening to what Lisa said, and I was looking over all the people that are personally on my team from here. And with the exception of one, who was my 3rd ambassador to join me almost 3 years ago, all of the people that are on here that are on my team, I did not just say, hey, you want to do Plexus with me? And they hopped on. It doesn't happen that way. And it probably is that way for many of you. Megan took her 18 months. I was kind of an easy catch. Someone said, hey, try it. And I did. But I wasn't going to share about it. But of all those people on here, I pursued them. And that can be a scary thing, even for someone like me who is very outgoing. I was a cheerleader. I do videos. That's like my thing. I don't know a stranger. There are things that hold me back and that cause me to have fears. And so I wrote down a lot of the things. I wrote down everything you guys talked about. And so one of the things is, I wanted to say to Lynn, girl, get Marco Polo and work videos, because get a friend. I'll be your friend. Let's Marco Polo back and forth. We can chit chat just like this. When you were talking, I was like, she's doing fabulous. I don't know what she's afraid of. And I think I told you this before, and I say it to all of you guys too. Look in the mirror, talk to yourself, okay? I do it all the time. I've done it my entire life since I was a little girl. And that's one of the things that makes me such a crazy video person, is because I do that kind of stuff all the time. And I'm telling you, it helps. My own daughter has fears of that. She will make a video and she'll go over it a zillion times before she's like, Mom, is this okay? But I keep telling her, just practice, practice, practice. Look in the mirror. Those things will definitely, definitely help you. The Marco Polo is one of the greatest things. I just got a bunch of people on my team. If you guys don't know what it is, it's an app that you can get on your phone. Just chat back and forth. It's a video. And so that will help people get acquainted with one another, as well as it will help you if any of you others have fear. I'm sure other people have fears with that video making. Also wanted to hit on what Denise said. Excuse me, I have a cough. About reaching out to people that you don't know. And so another gal that's on this call tonight, who's on my team, she messaged me, Denise, after you said what you did. And I just wanted to read you guys what she said to me. She had already told me this today, but this is really exciting. And so I just want to hit on this. She said that same thing with her. When she first joined my team, she didn't want her post to be public. She didn't want to be out there. And she had a hard time, friending people and getting other people on because she was, a private. And so when Denise, you're saying you add all these new people to your team, we all totally get that because we have tons and tons of people on there that we don't know. And so here's what she shared with me. I sent out 10 messages to people yesterday. I do not know them, all in caps, but they're my Facebook friends. I had 4 respond back right away. And so that was a huge fear that she had too. And she said, I just got my verbiage down and I just did it. And sometimes for me, guys, I get afraid of messaging people, but I type it out and then I'm not kidding. I'll just go real fast. I just push the send button and then there it goes. Okay. I have a friend, she was my maid of honor, my wedding, and she's not really famous or anything, but she's one of the children of the Ball family, Ball glass jars, the Ball company. And multi-millionaire family. Okay. And so I keep messaging her. She will not respond to me for anything that has to do with Plexus. And now she could probably buy and sell me completely, but she won't respond with Plexus. But I keep reaching out because I'm not going to let the fear of that hold me back. And I know that's one of those things that some of us deal with is those people that we think are above us. And somebody else had mentioned that. Can't remember. I can't see it real quickly on my notes here, but just the fear of reaching out to those people who are in a higher financial state than we are, or they're in the corporate world or something of that nature. I was on a call last night with Jessica Heffley, and she was talking about someone that I can't remember the girl's name, but someone that was in the corporate world. Jessica was afraid to message her. But now she's senior Ruby or above on Jessica's team, and Jessica Heffley, I mean, they're diamonds. Of course, you all know who they are. And she was afraid. She was even afraid, but she said, you know what? I just decided I was going to do it. And several people on her team had been in that high corporate world type thing where she was kind of afraid to reach out to them. But like Lisa said, if you just do the opposite of what the fear is telling you, you conquer it and you smash it to the ground and you don't let it put that head trash that we all deal with all the time. And probably a lot of you have read The Secret Code of Success because we've been talking about it for months and months and months. And the one thing that we always come back to is the head trash. That's exactly what fear does to us, is it gets a hold of us. It's like Candida, okay? It gets us and it just starts squeezing and it doesn't let go because it wants to control us. And we just have to not allow that to happen. So even, I'm just at the rank of senior Ruby, but goodness gracious, on a daily basis, there are things that come up and they're just like, you can't do this. Stop. People are sick of hearing your posts. I think Candy said something about people seeing too many posts. And I think some of that might be head trash too. We think, oh my goodness, there's so many posts on there. There's so much is going through, but everybody doesn't see the same thing. A lot of people on my own team, I don't even see their stuff because so many things, scroll through. So I think sometimes we do convince ourselves of things that necessarily aren't the case. At least that's what I'm hanging on to. And so I want you guys to hang on to the same thing.
Excellent. Love that. And yeah, Amber Emerson, I think is her name, is I think a senior Ruby on Jessica Heffley's team. And Jessica said she was so scared to reach out to her, but it sounds like to me, Jessica said that she reached out to big fish in the beginning of her Plexus journey. And she said it was like 7 or 8 months or more before Amber joined her. But now Amber is at home She's not in the corporate world anymore. And Amber herself was admitting to fears last night in light of reaching out to people, colleagues, basically. And it was actually really refreshing just to hear the vulnerability and to basically just hear the, hey, you got to be brave for 30 seconds. You can do it. And frame it. That's the other thing, is frame it. Instead of assuming the negative, because this is what I do, and it's that head trash again, is assuming the positive. Why not assume, hey, they may be praying for an answer to their health, or hey, they may know someone that is struggling. So this is another thing that I was thinking in light of wording, is like, I think we should always have the posture of being kind and confident and not apologetic. We're bold, we're thankful, we're blessed to be able to share what we have to share. When we reach out, it's simply an invitation. This is not the sales pitch or anything like that. It's simply an invitation to, hey, look what I have. This is been such a blessing to me. But I was thinking, consider giving an out, because I got some feedback recently about how some people feel when they get a message. I feel honored when I get a message from someone asking me to join their team or take a look at their products. But for some people, they feel like they can't say no, which that's in their court. That's an insecurity they need to deal with. But I never want someone to feel like they can't say no to me. And so consider, when you're sending a message, you might say, hey, this may or may not be for you. You can use that verbiage. This may or may not be for you, but I feel compelled, or, I was praying, or, hey, you came to mind, and I just wanted to share this with you because you may be praying for an answer, or maybe someone that you know is struggling with a health issue right now, or you're looking for an opportunity. And so I like that idea of giving people an out for them, like to say, it is okay if you say no, or, hey, this may not be your jam, and that's perfectly fine, but I feel led to share with you. So those are just a couple of wording things that I feel like it's just a little nuance and a little idea that you can try to maybe get some more responses, even if it's a no thank you. Okay, Amy Booker, I'd love to hear what your perspective is.
Okay, can you guys hear me? I didn't jot down notes before tonight, but I wrote down everybody's fears who voiced them. And I don't know if you guys ever listened to any of Hillsong United songs. They've got a new one, maybe it's not new, but it's called Not Today. And I love it so much. And one of the lines in that song is, fear is just a liar running out of breath. And I love that. And I think that's super powerful, because really, we've said it over and over again, that is what fear is. Fear is a liar. It's not truth. And it's not from the Lord. And so all of those fears, I'm surely the newest of all of us leaders on this team, but all of those fears I have experienced. But I also think that there's a huge importance in having a great support system around you in this team, your people above you, below you, and beside you. And there's great importance in building your belief in who you are. A lot of us voice the fear of success. We should never stop learning. Leaders should never stop learning. We should never we should never think we've arrived. If we ever think we've arrived, there's a problem. And so building belief in yourself, building belief in these products, and building belief in this company. And when we do that, our posture does tend to change. I was not an easy sell. I was a jerk. And so it took me a long time to come on board, but that was good for me, because I've had people who've been mean to me. So now, like, skeptics are kind of my favorite people. Do you know what I mean? And so I come from a posture of, I was a waitress, right? So if you view it like a waitress, every single table I always ever went to for 7 years, I offered every single table coffee, not expecting that everyone would say yes, but I'm still going to offer it to them. And if they say no, I'm not offended. Some people don't like coffee. Do you know what I mean? So if we really work on not being offended and not taking ourselves too seriously or people around us too seriously, then I do think that is helpful. If you can view it like that, you are offering people a cup of coffee. It's actually better than that. It can do lots of great things for them. But if they say no, it's no. It's not, they're not being mean to you. Do you know what I mean? And if they are, it kind of is in their court. And then it's your responsibility to just love on them and focus on the relationship more than the sale, which we should always do anyway, right? Just a couple other things. One of the fears that I wanted to speak into the most is, a lot of you said that you feel that the market is saturated. 8 people on this call tonight on my team, we live in the same town, okay? Most of us go to the same church. Lisa is Emerald, I'm Senior Ruby, and three golds on this call. We all live in the same town. So, and our market is not saturated. You all have your own sphere of influence, and you all have your own people that people around you, even in your own town, don't have. So that's not true. That's a lie. So, and I think too, being intentional on Facebook with, getting involved in other groups. If you feel like your market really is cold, get involved in some groups that mean something to you. You know what I mean? Not just like something random, but like, and then begin building relationships to make your cold market warm. Do you know what I mean? And then your cold messages don't become so cold because you're building, you're always growing, you're growing your market as well. My biggest fear, actually, I think it was Stephanie Watts, about the fear of success and the fear of working it into your life. And so a huge thing, and I think, Megan, you've talked about this, and those of you doing the Rocktober Challenge, one of the things that we needed to do at the very beginning was have a meeting with our shareholders. And so this summer, it was before, maybe I had just gone Ruby. We were on our family vacation, actually, and I sat down with my family, my whole family, my husband and my 4 kids, and we had a legit shareholders meeting, and just really voiced, this is where we're going, and Plexus will never be our life. We're in full-time ministry, so that's first for us, but Plexus surely is a big part of my life, and I do love it. And so how do we balance well family, I homeschool, full-time ministry, and growing, and now I have a significant team under me, and I want to make sure I lead them well and love them well, and in order to do that, I've got to grow myself too, right? Because that's another fear. I need to be able to lead and people and take good care of the people underneath me. So that's a huge, having that shareholder meeting. And Kevin, my husband, I have not always seen eye to eye, and he has the finger on the pulse of our home. He is better. I have a tendency toward workaholism. I love it, so I could just do it until I drop, And so it's important to listen. And so we established business hours, like legitimate business hours. And now the challenge is for me to abide by them and to adjust them as I grow too, but that has been huge for me. And so that, to do everything well, I want to do all that I do in my life with excellence. And so that means that some of my things have had to come off my plate, but the things that I value most, my family, homeschooling, church, and Plexus, those things I want to do well. And so I'm allotting specific time. And then when I do it, I bust it out and it's a focused time. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that's really important for those of you who want to really grow is, a lot of times we think we're working when we're not. We're scrolling, we're dabbling, we're just playing. You know what I mean? So those would be just my encouragements to you. And the biggest thing of all is like comparison destroys contentment, right? That's like the mantra of my life. You have to do your business the way that looks like you, not in a way that looks like anybody else. And you have to be your authentic self, however that looks. So if you're introverted, don't try to be extroverted. Do you know what I mean? If you're crazy, don't try to do a nerdy, serious science post if you don't know what you're talking about, or copy and paste it from somebody who does. Do you know what I mean? If you don't say y'all, don't say y'all. Be who you are in your post, because people can see through that. If you say treaty treats, then say treaty treats. But if you don't. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really huge, and it's important for people to see you for who you are. And bottom line, if you are your authentic self, and you like who you are, and those closest to you like who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Do you know what I mean? And if they do think you're involved in a pyramid scheme, do you know what I mean? But you can cater your post to that as well. But bottom line, you love people, right? You love people, and you value the relationship above all. And then you are your authentic self, and you work the business the way that it works for you and that honors your family. And then you find a support system that can link arms with you and run with you, and that can speak truth into those fears that you have, and can talk you off cliffs when you need that talking off of cliffs, and can love you if other people are being mean, because that happens too. So that's my 2 cents.
Amy, would you mind sharing what your business hours look like for you? Because I think the biggest thing is that Plexus shouldn't be full-time. Like even as a diamond and an emerald, it doesn't take us all day every day to do Plexus.
Right. So they've changed obviously as I've grown. I used to bust everything out in a half hour and call it good. So now what I'm finding that's working for me now. And there's seasons of push. Like last month when we really worked hard as a team to get Lisa to Emerald, it was a busier month. So there's going to be seasons of whatever. But my daily, I get up at 5:30. I have my devotions and my coffee date with Jesus in the morning first, and then I do my heavy loading of plexus work until 9. And so my kids are in bed for a lot of that time, and then they're up and they're just kind of playing and kind of whirling and swirling around me. We start school at 9, and so they play well before then because they know that school is coming, so that's my busy heavy loading. So a couple hours in the morning, and then I take off my plexus hat and I put on my mom and teacher hat, and we do life and we do school until after lunch. When their school is done for the day, they get a half hour of iPad time. So during that time is when I'll do a half hour to 45 minutes again in the afternoon, kind of replying to all of the messages that I sent early in the morning. Anyone who's responded back, I reply back, talk to a lot of my teammates, things like that. And then I have another touch point in the evening before I go to bed, another like half hour. So I kind of have 3 touch points during the day, but my heavy loading's in the morning when the majority of the time the kids are sleeping. And then every Friday, it's our family day, it's our Sabbath. It's pretty, we're pretty strict about that because our weekends are super busy with church. So Friday is family day. It's like no phone Friday. And that's super important for our family sanity. And so, yeah, so that's what's working for us now.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like the specifics are really helpful. And Brenda Martin has a call that I posted in the Rocktober Challenge as well. And she explains some ideas. And I like, was it in the Secret Code to Success? It's do, delegate, and delete. And so like Amy was saying, prioritizing is the most important. And that's what I've had to do. Some things I've been able to delegate. Some things I've had to delete. And then obviously some things I still do. So, okay. Lisa or Amy or Angie, Justin, any other quick thoughts?
Yes.
And just say one thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say anything that didn't get addressed completely.
I just wanted to quickly say about what Amy said about the banging that out really quickly. The scrolling thing, I've seen so many people mention. Megan, you've mentioned it many times, Jessica, talking about not scrolling but doing the work. And I think sometimes we scroll, and I'm talking from my perspective, what I've done in the past, because of I had this underlying fear of reaching out. So it's almost like you're putting off reaching out by scrolling. Does anybody else relate to that? So what I've decided to do today, because I was like, I'm full force. And so I was like, because I'm distractible. I'm a blue. If you guys know the color, right? I'm blue-red, and I can kick the red in. So I just decide when I'm working, I'm going to get that red part of my personality in there and not scroll, and really just because I'm not going to be afraid to reach out. That was just kind of a thought that really an epiphany of Amy when you were talking. I think a lot of that is fear-based because we're trying to procrastinate. We don't want to have to do those cold messages.
Yeah, and I was just going to add one thing that Jenny Peterson had mentioned, the fear of after a few months or whatever it dying off. I just wanted to say that I sat at Ruby for 12 months. 12 months. About. I mean, from May to actually longer than 12 months, 14 months. So the fear of, am I ever going to get past that was difficult. But I kept doing the work every day, and it was discouraging from time to time. I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't, because my team kept growing, but my points, they didn't keep growing because there's so much attrition. But I just kept believing that God put this in my lap for a reason. I didn't go seeking this out. And I know Jenny, and I know she didn't go seeking this out either. I pursued her for a long, long time. And God has blessed, I know God has blessed you, Jenny, with great health results through this. So don't let the fear of failure or it falling off at some point stop you, because again, that is what Satan wants. He wants to convince you otherwise. And so just keep pushing forward. I would encourage all of you, keep pushing forward. Like Lisa said, she was like, I'll never get anywhere. I'll never get the car. Hey, girlfriend, you just got the car.
It's a nice
the
car.
other day.
I went for a ride in that baby today.
So don't let that fear hold any of you back, okay?
And Jessica Heffley, she always talks about do something scary every day. And I think that's huge. And that's been another, like, I feel like theme for me since starting this journey, like so many things to do with Plexus or never on my radar or something I never said I would ever do. And different challenges because I like to win things. So if there's an incentive, like I'm drawing for a water bottle, if you do a video, I'm like, crap, okay, I'm going to do that video because I want that bottle, you know? But when you do it and when you keep doing scary things over and over again, they don't become scary anymore, you know? And she says, or I saw a meme or whatever that said, if your why isn't big enough, your excuses will be. And I do think that is huge. And I think that's what makes us all stay the course, right? For whatever your why is, whatever hits your heart. And I think your why morphs and changes too. You know, in the beginning, my why was $100 a month, and our worship pastor waitress budget is stressful for us. So I have to get these products paid for because I want my husband on them for life. You know, now my why has morphed to I want us debt free. I want us out of debt, and I want us to be able to give and not have to, you know, just to pay off my parents' house. But you know what I mean? Just that, and that why, that's huge. I don't care about the car. I don't care about wealth, but I want to be debt free and be able to give like nobody's business. I'll take the car, mind you. But do you know what I mean? But that why is strong. And so then you can put your head to the ground and you can plod every day. Do you know what I mean? No matter what. And even if there's going to be a lot of days where you're not going to get an ambassador every day or a customer every day, but you still put your head to the ground and you plod every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Yes.
We're going to go for the...
They've already been discussed that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say something. Who was it? Sarah mentioned about she's worried about people thinking she's a fruitcake. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Well, we've been fruitcakes for years, like even before Plexus. So you just got to keep going forward with your fruitcakeness. Like, so we like just keep piling it on. We got married. We didn't have a TV. That was radical. And then, we're going to homeschool. That was just another level of crazy for people. And then we had 4 kids, and then the 5th, and then the 6th, and then people keep making their comments. And then, who knows? I don't know. Then Plexus came along. Before that, it was, I don't know, it seems like everything we do causes people just to think, what is wrong with them? They are so out there, you know, on the like kook fringe people. And you know what? I'm thrilled with who we are. Even before Plexus, we're just loving life. You know, it's who we are. And then if people don't support us, then sorry, we're a lot of fun. You're missing out. You know, so I mean, I think you just have to know who you are, and I think that is something that I think that's one of the reasons that we don't have a lot of confidence sometimes, or we're filled with fears, because we don't know who we are. We spend a lot of our time trying to be like other people, and we have no idea who we are. But I mean, for us, I know who we are, and I'm completely I'm okay with it. So other people's opinions of me don't bother me anymore. I was running a couple earlier this summer, and I just stopped running, and I just praised the Lord. I said, Father, I'm a child of God, and I'm a Plexus ambassador. I know exactly who I am, and I'm good with it. And I just thanked him. And I think just knowing who you are, I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed of being either one of those. I don't apologize to people that I'm in network marketing. I don't apologize to people that I drink a pink drink. I don't apologize to people that I love the Lord. That's who I am, and I'm good with it. And not everybody's cool with that, and that's okay. I still love them. So just be yourself. You know, I think Amy hit the nail on the head. Just be you. Don't say y'all if you're from Illinois. I mean, it's like south of here, you know, and we don't say that. We say you guys. And so it's just be yourself. You're special. And you have a network of people that like you for who you are. So don't act like somebody else. Be you. There was another one too. Approaching people better than you. Was that Denise? Is that who said that?
You have to do that.
Yeah, for one.
That's how you grow a team, a good team, right?
I've found that a lot of people that are quote unquote better than me have gut issues worse than me. And they're doing great now because they're on the products. Another thing is whoever said they were better than you. Mm-hmm. A dollar amount does not give anybody any more value than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the economic situation of our country, we could all be down to zero overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So don't ever think a dollar amount adds that much value to someone. I say go after them. If you're afraid of them, go and do it. I know in the Army, we've been in situations before in the military where everybody was afraid. You know, some acted like we weren't, but everybody was. And the ones who are called heroes later on down the road are ones who just moved forward. Wasn't because they weren't afraid,
mm-hmm.
but they kept moving forward. Love propels you to move forward. When you talk to any of those heroes, why did you do that? Well, because I loved my men.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's the same theme. Love is what propelled them forward. Love for someone other than themselves,
mm-hmm.
and they were able to overcome that fear. Great things about the balance that a couple of you shared. In light of balancing all of life, I think that that's a very important thing to consider. And
whatever you do.
Yeah, and I think
either way.
And I think it's important. I think that's one good thing about a Sabbath too, or at least maybe not even a whole day, but even if you took 10 minutes or 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes, just to sit and evaluate, kind of examine where you are. And is what you're doing match up with your goals in life and the things that you say are important. So find some time where you can evaluate your fears. Why does this really scare me?
Mm-hmm. Get to the root. Just try to dig deep down and find out what the root is behind it.
Yeah.
That will really be helpful.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so I was going to end with a story, and then we're going to just close in prayer. Okay, we just want to pray over the team and the fears that we verbalized tonight. So I hit diamond at the very end of September, 28th, I think, and that was a very exciting day for me. I messaged someone close to me and told them that I was super close to this huge goal that I'd had for 2.5 years. And so when I hit I don't know if I hit it, but anyways, I got the message back. She messaged back and said, oh, congrats, that's exciting, but we need to chat. Basically, I ended up having 3 very hard conversations. I think a lot of you already know this, but what happened is that some of my very most real fears were realized, or at least from those 3 people. My greatest fears, basically, they told me that was their reality. That's what they saw from the outside looking in. That I'm salesy, spammy, that my motive is to just make the next sale. And guys, anyone else could have told me that, and maybe it would have rolled off my back. I wouldn't care, whatever. But when it comes from the people closest to you, or some people that you really value what they think, that hits hard. And so as a diamond ambassador, I was reacting and saying, maybe I'm done. And as hard as that is to admit, when someone says things like that to you and they view your motives as completely not how you, they judge your motives. That's what it is. Judging my motives as, that was basically my hugest fear, is that I would come off that way. And to these 3 people, that's what they've said I've come off as. And basically spamming our mutual friends, things like that. And I'm like, oh, like it was suffocating me. Like I had gut issues for a couple of days because the anxiety over, I was like trying to wrap my brain around this whole thing. And so, you know what I decided is that, you know what, Plexus has been nothing but a blessing to me. Blessed my health, blessed our family's health. The business has been a blessing. I've just realized that, you know what, I can't control what other people think they see. This goes back to what Lisa was sharing about being your authentic self. And if your motives are pure and your motives are right, how could someone else say that that's not your motive? And that's, well, you come across this way. Well, I'm sorry I've come across that way, but that's not why I share Plexus. I really work hard to make sure that people know that I truly care. Like, I care about people's health. I love educating. I love sharing. And so I wanted to share that with you guys because basically I've worked myself, like us as a team, we've worked up to this point of being a diamond team. And then I get that kind of feedback instead of a, hey, congrats, we're so proud of you. It's a, we're going to judge your motives on this or question your reason. And that was very, very hard for me. I've decided, you know what? I'm not giving this up. Yes, it's worth it to me, because they were asking me, well, are you sure it's worth it? Are you sure it's worth it? Honestly, it was all framed with them. I think because they're embarrassed of me. They said that. They're embarrassed of me. But that's in their court. If they're embarrassed, that's a very in my opinion, a very self-focused view. And they don't understand the products, for one. They don't have belief in the products. They also don't understand this business model. That's the other thing. So as you're working with people and maybe people are sharing perspectives and things like that, just realize that they don't see everything we see. They don't understand how this type of thing works, how it's a team and how we work together and things like that. And so my biggest takeaway from all those perspectives that I gleaned was, yes, there's always things to learn and criticism. There's always perspectives to consider. And I value, and I kind of pride myself on the fact that I like hearing perspectives, even ones different than mine. But I've decided, you know what? Action cures fear. So you know what I did? I made some posts. I got back into sharing. I was sharing on my team page. I was sharing. I mean, I took some moments and some time to reflect and to consider. And then I was back at it, guys, because I believe in these products. I have seen them literally change people's lives. I'm not giving this up. We're heavily invested in this, and it's my joy to share and to learn with you guys. And so to me, action cures fear. And I think that's the bottom line, is that I can joyfully share what's been shared with me and what's been a complete blessing to me and have fun the whole time we're doing it. So that's the end of my story. So let's pray really quick, and then we'll just be dismissed and we'll pop off. I hope this was a blessing to you guys. You want to pray or you don't need to pray?
Sure.
You pray? Okay. Justin's going to pray.
All right. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity we have to just meet together, 60 plus people here at the height of this meeting, just gathering together and just being real with one another and sharing some of our fears and some of the things that are holding us back. And we just thank you for everybody has been open and transparent. And I pray that these fears would no longer enslave us. I pray that we would break free from the bondage of these fears. I pray that love would set us free. Love for you, love for other people. And I pray that it would help us to overcome these fears that are holding us back. I pray that we'd be able to run with this Plexus opportunity. I pray that we'd be able to run to those who need it, not being held back and hindered by torment and by anxiety and just fear. Help us to overcome these things. We're confessing them to you. Once again, we thank you for each one of the people on this call tonight. I thank you that you've given each one of us a gift. You've given each one of us talents, and you've made each one of us special. And I pray that we would know who we are, know that who you caused us to be, know who you created us to be, and that we'd be able to go forth with boldness and confidence and accomplish the things that you've set before us without fear. I just want to commit these things to you. We thank you for this team. We thank you for each one of these people. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Thanks, guys, for popping on. I hope it was a blessing. All right. You guys have a great week.